This is Christopher Moffat with EVM-TV, and I'm here with Pastor Dave Naglor.
Yeah.
Is that right, Naglor?
Naglor, yeah, yep.
Naglor.
Great.
And recently their church experienced a major flood just a short time ago, and I'm here to talk with them a little bit about that.
Great, yeah. Thanks, Chris.
So how bad was the flooding?
Well, in about 15, 20 minutes, we had about 100,000 gallons of water that came through suddenly from a broken main that was underneath the street nearby here. Came right through our orchard and garden, and then literally right through the sanctuary. And it was extensive. I mean, the damage, all told, was around $120,000, $130,000 worth of damage. So.
Wow, and how did the church get through that as a whole?
Well, it's a great story, actually, because the church really rallied well. And the neat thing was to see who in our community rallied alongside of us. Within an hour, the Episcopal Church had said that we could come meet at their church for our services, and so we had a place to be for Sundays.
That's great.
We had our community partners, neighbors came out to help. The Sheriff's Search and Rescue came out. We have several 12-step groups here for like Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, and those people had heard about this on TV, and then they showed up, and we were really, I mean, it was amazing. We had, I'd say, probably 120 volunteers that were here just trying to move all of our furniture out, redo the garden, get everything set back up. This garden that we have here is intended to feed people who are in need. And so it was great to see that the concerns of our community were, can we get the garden back up? Can we make sure our food pantry serves next week without any sort of interruption? And that really, as a pastor, it does my heart good to see that the community really wants to know, how do we serve the community first? Before it's like, oh, gee, what happened to our church? How do we fix ourselves, right? So that was neat.
So it really helped bring the community together.
Absolutely, in many ways. In fact, it connected us with the stories of exile. You know, throughout Scripture, there's these moments where God's people are not home. And when they're not home, they have to band together. They have to focus on what does it really mean for us to be the church, which is, you know, looking at the things of the Word, our faith, making sure that we're serving together. And once we do those things, we realize the building is really just secondary. It's really just part of it. And so then when we came back home, we wanted to carry that message of exile back in to where we are, to say we are still a church that, well, we were homeless for a while, so we should be caring for the homeless. And we were people who didn't have a place to go, no place to put our stuff. So for a lot of people who are going through transition right now in our community, who are losing their houses through foreclosure or for don't know where to put their things when they're transitioning, we know what that feels like, and so we have an obligation to reach out to them. So.
And where do you see God in all of this? You kind of answered it, but if you care to expand a little bit on it.
Well, I see God in this where I see God almost always, and that is in the compassion and care of all the people who are around, and the lessons that the things of our life are just things, and that they're really not the important elements of who we are as God's children. That really, when it comes down to, it's faith, it's relationships, it's love and compassion. That God uses difficult times. I don't believe God causes the difficult times, but I think God uses the difficult times to teach us how to be better followers of Jesus. And so that's where I see God in the midst of this. I mean, God for me was the Good Samaritan personified in a person from the Narcotics Anonymous group who showed up here just to move stuff. Like, well, he only comes here once a week for his program that he does, and we're glad to offer, but he saw himself as connected to this wider community and wanted to serve, and so I was humbled by that.
So did it look like it brought different churches together?
Yes, very much so. The Episcopal Church, the Presbyterian Church have been great partners for us along the way, and they sent their folks out as soon as they heard and made sure that we had their support. And, you know, out of that, you really find out kind of who your neighbors are, and that they're not just church people, that they're people who don't attend church but really still like what you're doing. So, yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Thanks.